Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Carputing, and I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is my summer car? This video format is all about first impressions. The advantage is that I can dive into games quickly and share my immediate thoughts with you. The disadvantage is that complex games like My Summer Car aren't ones you can simply pick up and master right away. My Summer Car is a life simulator set in Finland in 1995, where you play as a man whose main objective is to fix his Satsuma and get it on the road and start upgrading and modifying it. The game has an extremely steep learning curve, and if you're not ready to sit down and really learn the mechanics, you're not going to have a fun time. Being into cars is almost a prerequisite to enjoy the game fully. Your car comes completely disassembled and you need to put it together from scratch. Most of the parts are near your starting point, but you'll need to make an initial venture across the map into town to get some other supplies. You have enough starting money to get your car on the road, but for various upgrades later, you're going to need to earn more. The game is still in early access, which means it's still in development despite being available since October 2016. The term may still be appropriate as I found many bugs and inconveniences throughout my playthrough so far. After diving into My Summer Car, I decided to kick things off by taking the trusty old Kekmet tractor out for a spin. My first mission, connect it to a trailer to embark on a long journey to an abandoned mansion to snag the stock wheels for the Satsuma. Now, let me tell you, this isn't your typical driving experience. The game nails realism right down to the minutiae of operating heavy machinery. Starting up the tractor isn't as simple as turning a key. If you're on a hill, you'll need to engage the handbrake, and you'll need to adjust the throttle to get the engine purring, and be mindful of your gear shifts between high and low ranges. It's a meticulous process that really immerses you in the role of a 90s Finnish handyman. The journey itself was a test of patience and skill, navigating the rural roads while keeping an eye on the tractor's quirks. But driving isn't the only thing that you have to manage. The game throws a survival aspect into the mix with stats like hunger, thirst, urine, fatigue, stress, and even dirtiness. Each of these needs to be managed through various means: eating food, drinking water, or beer if that's your thing, using the restroom, taking naps, smoking cigarettes to reduce your stress, and hopping into the sauna to clean up. It adds a layer of depth, making every decision count towards a balance of your time towards building the car and basic human needs. After finally securing the stock wheels, I figured it's a good time to head into town with a tractor to stock up on supplies and fuel. Little did I know, I arrived at Teemo's shop right after closing time. Unlike games like Skyrim, there's no handy wait system to fast forward through the night. So there I was, sitting in real-time darkness, waiting for the game to cycle back to daytime. It took about an hour of actual time, which was a bit of a grind. This is where the game's commitment to realism can test your patience. To add to the frustration, I encountered a bug where my tractor just vanished into thin air once I reached town. One moment I'm parking outside the shop, the next moment, poof, it's gone. I had to reload my save and make the trek all over again. It's moments like these that remind you the game's still in early access with its fair share of glitches that can disrupt the experience. Once Teemo's shop finally opened, I stocked up on the essentials: food, drinks, and the parts needed to complete the Satsuma. With the supplies in tow, I made the journey back home. This is where the real fun begins, building the car from the ground up. Back at home, surrounded by a pile of car parts and tools scattered across the garage floor, I began the daunting task of assembling the Satsuma. If you're thinking this is like any other games, where you just click a button and the car magically appears, think again. My Summer Car demands you assemble every single component manually. I started with the engine, which is a complex beast in itself. Pistons, crankshaft, camshaft, timing chain, you name it, and you have to install it. It's not just about putting the parts in the right place, you need to secure them with the correct bolts using the appropriate spanner size. The game doesn't provide much guidance here, so unless you're a mechanic or have a repair manual handy, expect a good chunk of the time figuring these things out. One of the challenges I faced was aligning the timing correctly. Mess that up and your engine won't run, or worse, it could lead to engine damage. After some trial and error and a bit of frustration, I managed to get the engine assembled. There's something incredibly satisfying about hearing it roar to life for the first time, knowing you built it from scratch. But the engine was just the beginning. Next up was the suspension, brakes, exhaust system, and wiring. Yes, you heard that right. You have to wire the car's electrical system, connecting the battery, lights, and gauges. Skipping steps or incorrectly installing the parts can lead to a host of problems, from non-functioning headlights to complete engine failure. Throughout this process, I had to keep an eye on my character's needs. Building a car is hard work, and my fatigue levels were skyrocketing. Ignoring fatigue can lead to your character passing out, which can be dangerous if you're in the middle of the road or operating machinery. So I took breaks to rest, grabbed some food from the kitchen, and even took a moment to de-stress with the sauna session, a staple of Finnish culture. Speaking of culture, the game does an excellent job of immersing you in 90s rural Finland. From the Finnish radio stations playing in the background to the quirky NPCs you encounter, it's a slice of life that's both charming and, at times, absurd. The attention to detail extends to the environment as well. The dirt roads, the dense forests, the occasional passerby yelling profanities all contribute to a setting that's as authentic as it is entertaining. After days of in-game time, and let's be honest, quite a few hours of real-life time, the Satsuma was finally ready to go on its maiden voyage. With a mix of excitement and anxiety, I took it out onto the road. The sense of accomplishment was immense, but the challenges weren't over yet. Driving the Satsuma is an experience in itself. The car handles like a real vehicle from that era, complete with all its imperfections. The steering can be loose, the brakes might not respond as sharply as you'd like, and if you didn't align something correctly during assembly, you'll feel it. On my first drive, I noticed the engine temperature rising rapidly and water spraying onto the windshield. Turns out there was a leak in the coolant system. I had to pull over before the engine overheated, and I didn't have the hood on yet, so that was easy and I let it cool off. It's little details like this that makes my summer car both infuriating and brilliant. As you drive around, you can start taking on jobs to earn money. Delivering firewood, emptying septic tanks, and even participating in rally races are ways to fund further upgrades to your car. The game opens up, giving you more freedom to explore and interact with the world. However, the open-world nature also means dangers lurk around every corner. The AI drivers on the road can be reckless, and a head-on collision can be fatal. Yes, you can die in this game, and the death is permanent, forcing you to start all over again. It's a harsh reminder that you always have to save your progress and drive carefully. But let's talk about the upgrades and modifications. Once you have some cash, you can start tweaking the Satsuma to your heart's content. Want a racing carburetor? Go for it. Fancy some alloy wheels or a new paint job? The options are there. These upgrades not only enhance the car's performance, but also add a personal touch to your ride. The game also features a rudimentary social system. You can visit the pub, interact with locals, and even get into bar fights if you're not careful. It's these quirky elements that add character to the game, making it more than just a car building simulator. Now, it's worth mentioning that my summer car isn't for everyone. The steep learning curve, coupled with the game's unforgiving nature, can be a turn-off for some players. The bugs and glitches, as I've experienced with the disappearing tractor, can be frustrating. However, if you're willing to invest the time and have a passion for cars and simulation games, it offers a uniquely rewarding experience. In conclusion, My Summer Car is a game that demands patience, attention to detail, and a willingness to embrace both its quirks and challenges. It's not just about building a car, it's about immersing yourself in a slice of 90s Finnish life, complete with all its trials and tribulations. If that sounds like your cup of tea, or should I say, your can of beer, then it's definitely worth checking out. So, WTF is My Summer Car. It's a brutally realistic, occasionally frustrating, but ultimately satisfying simulation game that offers a deep dive into car mechanics and rural Finnish culture. It's a game where every achievement feels earned and every mistake is a lesson learned the hard way. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, this is Carputing signing off.